So I think one of the most shocking things have recently just hit me, and that is how poor the conversation around gaming is. That sometimes some people, at risk of actually just losing their own sanity and credibility, will say the craziest things on a YouTube video. You'll make a video, right? The video would say A, B, C, D, E. Somebody will come up out of nowhere and say, you are stupid, you are wrong, you're a clown. XYZRTT should be what we should be talking about. And then you go ahead and say, but what does XRYTT have to do with ABC? And these people will call you clowns. They will tell you that you're an idiot. They'll just basically call you names. And then sometimes you put them in a position where they have to basically prove what it is they're trying to say. And they have no idea what they're trying to say. And then they basically turn around like some dog that's been pushed to the wall. They turn around and bite. And they get vitriolic. And you're looking going like, what in the world is going on? Well, I'm going to tell you what in the world is going on, ladies and gentlemen, because this is really interesting. I made this video that I titled "Why PC Players Don't Need a Console." On the little thumbnail, I put a $50 GPU thumbnail on this video. So basically, I went through the video, and in the video, I actually looked through the different recommended and minimum specs for a lot of video games that we have out here. When this ad plays, I'll show you guys the video. Right, I put them up and we started looking at the prices of these hardware and found out that these hardware pieces, especially for the PlayStation games, because these games just arrived in droves in the last few years, and the Xbox games too, they've been coming for a while. And so when we looked at that, we found out that you can actually play a lot of these games with like a $60 GPU and in some cases a $25 CPU. Well, what you would have said would be the response to this would be, okay, well, it appears that you don't necessarily need all this powerful hardware, or perhaps developers maybe need to dig in further and be able to optimize for the existing PS5 and Xbox Series X hardware. Perhaps those are, conclusions that you would think people would draw from here, right? Oh no. What I saw was the craziest thing in my entire life. Like, oh, the reason people buy consoles are for convenience. No one is arguing the convenience of consoles, even though if we actually went into the argument, we'll find out that it equates to itself, because you'll get the person that would say things like, well, you don't expect the regular Joe, like this one here, the viral content. You don't expect the regular Joe to be able to go ahead and do settings for their PC. What the heck do you think the regular Joe is? A nincompoop? An inept? Why do people always bring up these shadowy figures? These shadowy characters that we don't know who they are as being not able to do anything on PC. Oh, you don't expect I've seen some really crazy ones. Somebody said you don't expect a single mom to be able to figure out how to build a gaming PC. She could just buy her child a console. My dude, if we broke down the situation for you, you'd be very shocked. What you're saying is people are stupid, so they should not be able to be given the benefit of the doubt, or we shouldn't believe in them to be able to pick up something that's new to them, something that they feel may be beneficial to them, explore it, learn about it, and implement it for themselves. It's a very condescending argument for human beings. I can't imagine that somebody would in good faith make that argument, but this is what we're seeing here. The lack of sense, the lack of logic, the lack of thinking. And to me, the only way I know how to basically deal with this is to continue to provide what I think are the facts to the matter. In the same video, I had people come and tell me some really weird stuff like, oh, well, you'd have to wait. Like some of them, you'd have to wait to get these games on PC. That's a whole different argument. Yes, we'll have to wait. But guess what? If we talk about waiting as some kind of a bad thing, then we are destroyed as a society. If waiting for you to delay gratification, if that's a bad thing, we're cooked, according to the internet slang. Because the exact reason a lot of these corporations get away with nonsense is simply because most of us in the gaming scene fail to exercise a little bit of restraint. But some of us are starting to dial in. I see your comments. Amazing. In fact, you guys are rubbing off on me. It's so good. Some of you are like, hey, man, I'm just going to wait 6 months for the best version of this game. And I'm like, man, that's exactly what I want to see. I'm a YouTuber. You watch my videos. If you're putting comments here, you are helping me, by the way. I don't know if you know. The algorithm sees engagement. That's all it sees. You're helping me. You're growing my platform. Whether or not you agree or disagree with me, you call me a clown, put those comments there. I appreciate. That's why I engage with you too. Just because some days I'm itchy. I'm like, man, let's get a few more subs in here, because all that is actually designed for the algorithm to see if your channel is actually active or if you're just a bot, right? But here you are logging, minutes into my comment section, thinking you're making a point when you're delving into some other realm of a conversation that's not there. We're not talking about the ease of use. We're not talking about the old Joe. We're not talking about all these things that you want to talk about. Even though if we talked about them, you will still be schooled because you're speaking mostly from a place of ignorance. And I'm not saying this to be damning to you. I'm saying that you're actually showing that you don't know what you're talking about. Somebody called me a clown because I followed the PC requirements. You're seeing the video right here. I clicked the link on Steam. I scrolled down where we have PC requirements, and I said, here are the recommended specs to play things like, in this case, The Last of Us Part 1. An RX 470 GPU, a Ryzen 5 1500. Somebody said I was a clown, that I think I know more than Digital Foundry. I almost want to say, Ninja, this is the developers that put these requirements here. Digital Foundry did not develop any of these games. Why are people behaving like this? I think I know why. Sometimes somebody buys something. Consumerism is very big in our society. I'm guilty of it too. But sometimes we buy something and we need affirmation. Anything that challenges what we've invested in sometimes can be abrasive to us. And some people don't really know how to respond to that. I'm not attacking you. I'm just talking about how we bought a bag of sold goods collectively. I bought a PS5. I traveled to a whole different state to buy a PS5. We bought a bag of goods, and I'm a PC gamer. But because I like games, I'm like, whatever PlayStation has to offer, I'll play. PlayStation's always been my jam. And so when I looked at it, I was like, nah, man, this is not going to repeat itself again. And I'm ensuring that that's not going to repeat itself again. In fact, I'm going to make so many of these videos that anybody who watches them, you will rethink before you go buy a console. Like when you walk into any store to buy a console, I want you to think about it. Like I want you to be like, do I really need this? That's exactly my goal. I'm not here to tell you what to do, but my goal is to actually force a different dimensional look where you say, yeah, hold on. Let me look at this from a whole different perspective. And that, I think, is where we're going to start getting the best as consumers. I've been on YouTube for many years. I've seen a lot of people try to tell people what to do, what to buy, how to spend their money, how not to spend their money. And most of the channels are already come and gone. But those channels that are able to, and my daughter's over there yelling, by the way, so you're going to hear in the video. I'm not editing that out. But those of you that basically, you spend your time thinking, you understand that at the end of the day, it's the consumer's personal behavior that will affect the best for that consumer. And I'm telling you guys that on this console thing that we're looking at, it has never really benefited anybody other than the corporations themselves. This is why right now, PlayStation right now is basically under the gun. Everyone's looking at PlayStation under a microscope like, what are you guys doing for the console that you've so heavily sold to us as the very best thing ever? Nothing. Because they've bloated the whole expectations. $200 million games that they can't afford. They made Spider-Man 2 and the game cost $300 million. The game had to first sell 7.2 million copies before it broke even, and they still have to pay even royalties on every copy of the game sold and every bundle sold. That's crazy. Why? Because they wanted their console to basically a box that goes obsolete after 2 years. They wanted that box to be in the homes of everybody else. It was their only way to do it, and the only way that they basically built their ecosystem. And now that that's under question, now that that's fizzing out, because what was supporting that were third-party games, by the way. Many of you really did think PlayStation was raking in all this money from selling their games. No, it was us paying them for PlayStation Plus and Call of Duty, giving them all kinds of exclusive stuff, and even Bethesda. And then they try to lock down Starfield, which pushed Microsoft to say, forget this. Let's just buy Bethesda. We have a relationship with them. We're living in PlayStation's world. The world created, the gaming world created by PlayStation's actions anyways. But now it's changed. PlayStation was able to do all these cinematic games and all that. Now everybody else has got it. And so everyone's bringing it. Right? They created something. I think it was good. I say, hey, man, those anti-consumer practices that they put in effect, hey, man, thank you, because it's created competition that is so stiff right now. They have to bring their games to PC, to another platform, to be able to at least push their sales to where other third-party studios are able to get it to with ease. This is a very interesting gaming industry, and I would love to have these conversations. However, I think I'm just gonna get to the point where if I see any of these comments or whatever, maybe I just delete them because they're distracting from what we need to focus on. They are distractions. Many of them don't follow even what's being argued. Like one of them said in this video here, oh, our conversation was about sales. No, the conversation was not about sales. The conversation was another video or somewhere like that. The conversation was about the fact that you did not even need, or we did not need these consoles in the first place to be more powerful. FPS was never our problem. If you're playing on console, if you were playing on PS4 and the Xbox One, FPS was never your problem. If it was, you would have been a PC player in that generation. That's when majority of PC players moved players moved to PC. I hope you know that. It was in that generation. NPD has the research to back that up. And I cited it in my video in 2018 where I said that Spider-Man needed to come to PC because of that shift in 2016, 17, and 18. If FPS was your problem, that's when you would have moved. So people telling me now because they have a PS5 that, oh, if you don't play at this high FPS, it's a bunch of nonsense. To me, I think you have no idea what you're talking about. This person over here would not stop. Look at this. Talking nonsense, telling me minimum. I'm telling them, dude, the video is about minimum specs. I'm literally saying it to them. And all of them thinking that low settings at 720 is something good. Yes, it is. Because I played Uncharted 1, 2, 3 at 720, 30 and I enjoyed it. Yes, it is. I played God of War 2018 at 30 FPS and I enjoyed it. 720 is great. 30 is great. If that's what I can afford, it is great. And by the way, if it comes to FPS, so as a nerd, we ain't lacking that. But I'm not going to forget my roots because somebody sold me a $500 piece of plastic that can give me 60 FPS in some games. And I'm going to go forget when I was a console player and I barely had any money to basically buy anything other than a PlayStation 4. And somehow I should see myself as because of some stupid plastic device. If we measure devices, sorry, you still won't win. And I'm not going to do that with you. I just want to have a fruitful conversation and talk about the sensibilities that are out here regarding these things. And I'm going to have these conversations. But I'm sick of a lot of these console fanboys, man. I need to start deleting y'all's comments because you don't have anything intelligent to add. We're trying to change the game over here. We're trying to affect the industry over here. And all you come around with is you have to wait for games. Come on. Come on. Come on.